What college major do you think gets made fun of the most? Why? Art major. I cannot tell you how many times people majoring in this get shit on so much in TV movies, it's absolutely hilarious. I honestly started believing it too. The funniest one is in the film 22nd Jump Street, and it goes something like this. Schmidt explaining he banged some girl, she's smart, beautiful, and she's an art major. Ice Cube's character, she can't be that smart, she's an art major. Turns out it was his own daughter, and I absolutely died laughing when he found out. At my college it was PRT. Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. It was a degree field for wannabe travel agents, park rangers, and city playground planners. It was the only school that didn't have a minimum GPA requirement to get in, so it was the fallback degree for a lot of people that failed out of engineering. We had one friend in college who was a humanities major. We all figured she'd either become a college professor or work at McDonald's. My roommate, her future husband, got his MBA. Now, they both work for Wells Fargo, and she's way higher up on the managerial scale than he is. Music production. I know I didn't need to go to school for it like many will say, however the training you receive for your ear is invaluable. My school used to have a BA degree in leisure time activities. I always wondered what they did with that. Communication major. Was always telling that people were taking an easy major and didn't know what they wanted to do. I double majored in English Lit and art history. I went to law school, but in job interviews to this day every interviewer has sneered and asked why art history. As a political science major, I'm surprised I don't see this on the thread, smiling face with open mouth and tightly closed eyes. I always see fine arts majors getting roasted. Fine arts is a very difficult field to actually get into. The job market is always insanely saturated. That, or they want to be a freelance artist and think their kooky take on modern art is worth millions. Edit. Not sure why people are commenting as if I'm the one doing the roasting. I'm just answering the question. I don't care what your major is. Criminal justice. Everyone who takes it thinks that is the way into the CIA, FBI, etc., but those organizations hire out of STEM. They should rename it prison guarding, correctional officer, LOL, because that's where they all end up. Every single year the United States graduates a 1,000-year supply of psychology majors. A lot of people are saying philosophy or communication. I work in a college of arts and humanities, and some of our most successful alums come out of these two programs. Many philosophy majors are pre-law and go on to law school. I've talked to several communication majors who are CEOs or high-ranking executives in a company. Philosophy and communication are also popular degrees for politicians. Computer science, because they never fucking shower, and their building smells bad. Communications. Which is funny considering it seems many people fail at effective communication. They all bash on the major but can't communicate effectively. English gets a lot of disdain. See, I know that word because of my major, and in truth, it shouldn't. The curriculum teaches students about classic literature, which is both a historical lesson as well as a cultural lesson. This is only one example, but an important one. People in engineering seem to make fun of business majors a lot. Gender studies. Because it's gender studies. Art history. Even President Obama made fun of art history in a speech he gave. Theater. I plead the fifth. Gender studies. It used to be communications. By far gender studies. A lot of people clown on it for being a useless degree. To all the people who say arts, I used to think this too. Until I started doing the payroll for an art museum. Anthropology. I know 5 people with a bachelor's in this and none are using it. Every dumb son of rich guy or politician I know who has received a degree from the University of Texas was a geography major, so that's an inside joke amongst my circle. Liberal arts, mostly by people who don't actually know what field of study it covers and are triggered by the word liberal. Spoiler alert, it doesn't have anything to do with art or liberalism. I've only heard people who didn't go to college make fun of any major because it helps them feel more secure about the choices they made. Folks with degrees know that unless you have extremely specific interests, pretty much any 4-year degree can get you an entry-level position and you work your way up from there. Business. That's the major everyone picks when they don't know what to do with their lives. Gender studies. Gender studies is the answer. A lot of people make fun of sociology. But gender studies became a new discipline precisely because sociology departments thought it lacked academic rigor. Philosophy majors. Cornell University's hotel administration and management major gets shat on a lot at Cornell. Gender studies. Not my opinion, but I see it made fun of a lot. As someone with a bachelor and master's in illustration and sequential art, fancy name for I do comics good, really. Arts majors. You either end up working a low-end job to pay rent a week late, or you get boosted to the spotlight by sheer dumb luck and never have to worry about money again. That, or you do fairy porn and that's surprisingly lucrative while being actually fun. Not that I would know of have done would continue doing it. There are generally two types of students at American colleges: those who are there because they want to be there, and those who are there because they have no idea what they want but whose parents are paying, and living free away from home beats working, so here they are. My first 2 roommates and their many friends were of the latter category. Every afternoon, I would finish my classes and return to the dorm to be greeted by a thick cloud of pot smoke and random people sprawled out, snoring, all over the room. Weekends were constant parties. Business majors get clowned on by both art and science majors. IDK how enough people aren't mentioning general arts degrees. Not fine art, but general arts. Like nothing general, I guess, lol. Lots of people don't seem to realize that your major in college isn't usually intended to be training for your post-college career. Or that skills you learn in particular major are transferable to other things. I was a history major, and I'm now a lawyer. Other than historical facts, what did I learn? Research, writing, and analytical thinking. Those were pretty useful in law school, and there isn't too many other undergraduate majors better to develop those skills than history. Either liberal arts or English, because God forbid humans know culture and leisure. Communications. Women gender studies. Feminist studies or gender studies. Women's studies, art, and many of the other humanities. I have come to the conclusion that vet tech degrees licenses are basically a pyramid scheme. There's so many vet techs and so few positions open that everyone I know who went to school to be a vet tech now teaches at the community college to help other people become vet techs, because they can't find work as a vet tech. As a history major, I'm so glad we fly under the radar, LMAO. From what I see, the only major that gets clowned is gender studies, for reasons I can only imagine. I'm just like, if you're bettering yourself, why does it matter, you know? I feel like it has to be gender studies because nobody takes that seriously. Business because it's considered the easy major. When I was in school, our speech professor had a master's degree in storytelling apparently. Everyone I would tell that to would ask, "Did she tell you any stories?" Rolling on the floor laughing. She never did tell us any stories, pensive face. Oh man. I'm not saying I'd make fun of it, but I feel women's studies has to be up there. Gender studies. It's so telling that all the conversations is built around what job you get after the major. Insane how this structure has stripped all the value in knowledge. Gender studies. A lot of people make fun of it due to its association with wokeness and its low earning potential. I still think it's a valid major, but that's because I believe college should be a place for higher learning, not just for job training. Though I'd dissuade an undergraduate from pursuing that unless they have a strong financial foundation. Sports management. Everyone thinks they're going to be the next Roger Goodell, Scott Boras, or Mark Cuban. They don't realize that most of the top brass in the major sports are lawyers or Ivy League graduates. If you want to sell tickets to minor league baseball games, go for it, but even Mark Cuban himself thinks it's a bullshit degree and won't hire people who went to school specifically for sports management. Gender studies. Gender studies, job prospects are minimal. Gender